Okay, boys and girls, as you can see, I've colored in all of my areas. Remember, I've got the lines that go up this way have 3. These are going out, they curve away from the middle, and the ones that curve toward the middle have 2 black marks on it. So it kind of gives us the optical illusion of something kind of waving. Now, in order to make this look like it has form and make it more 3-dimensional, we're going to add some shading to it. And I'm going to just use a gray and a white marker. In the top of each of these little pie slices, we're going to make white. So I'm going to take my crayon and just make some white areas on the top. And I want it to be the whitest in the middle and just kind of fade to the side. So whitest in the middle and just kind of fade out to the side like this. So I'm going to go through in all of them, whitest toward the middle and then fade out to the side. I'm going to do that here. I'm going to show you what half of this artwork looks like with adding highlights and shading. I'm only going to do the white on the black areas first. So white in the middle and fade it out on either side. And you might have to rake off a little bit. So white, and then you want it to go off. And make sure that you cover the whole. So do a white stripe in the middle and fade. So you press hard in the middle and then it's lighter on either side, okay? And we're gonna do that. Bear down on your crayon a little bit and then so we're going to go through, like I said, I'm only going to do half of this. I want you to see the difference when we add the shading and the highlights when we don't. I want you to look at the difference, the picture. Even this big one right here, I want you to go ahead and highlight and kind of let it fade on either side. It means it just gets a little bit lighter on either side. Even that big one. It's really important that we do that one too. Okay. So there we go. So now we've got our white marks. So now what we're going to do is on the black, we've added the white highlight. So on these white areas, we want to make sure that we leave the middle of all these little white squares white. We don't want to color that in. We want that to be a highlight. What we're going to do is we're going to add some shading down here on the corners of the white areas like this, and we're going to bring it up a little bit. We're just going to keep doing that. And do you notice how you can go through and make it a little bit darker if you decide you need to make it a little bit darker as you look at it and you decide you need this to be a little bit darker? You can go ahead and do that. What I want you to do is go through and shade these areas. So all the white squares, shade on either side. Remember, down here toward the middle, it's just going to be a small white area. Keep doing that all the way around, boys and girls. I want you to keep doing that. I want to show, and this big white one is a little bit tricky. We want to make sure we get kind of dark down there and get a little bit lighter on the sides. Kind of dark toward the middle. We definitely want to shade this one. This one's going to be the harder one, but notice I'm getting a little bit lighter And I want to make sure that I don't color in more than this than I have here. So if I add some back into this one, I need this to kind of follow through here, as you can see. So we're just gonna kind of fade that a little bit. All right, and let's do this one right here. Let's do these two. But are you starting to see the difference in the ones with the highlights and the shades and the ones without it? Do you see how it starts to roll more? It's starting to give the illusion of having form. It starts to look more three-dimensional. Highlights and shading are what we use in art to give the illusion of depth. It makes things look like they have 3 dimensions. In drawing and painting, that's how we do that. Now sculpture, you're just making something that's already 3-dimensional. You don't have to add anything, but when we draw and we paint, we have to give the illusion of it being 3-dimensional. And that's how we do that as artists. We add shading and highlights. So boys and girls, I'm going to pause my video. You pause yours and you keep adding your shading and highlights. Remember, you can go back and watch this some more. You can pause and just work on it. I'm going to come back at the end and show you my finished work. All right, boys and girls, I finished adding all my highlights and all my shading. And do you see how this now looks like it's rolling? Like all of these look like they're points coming together and they have form to them. They almost look like, it doesn't look like a flat piece of paper anymore, does it, boys and girls? We created this illusion by how we curved our lines and how we added highlights and shading to our work. I hope you enjoyed this project. I hope you enjoyed this 3-dimensional op art project. I had a lot of fun with this. I hope you did too, and I will see you next time on Art Time with Mrs. Kine.